Hello my loves, welcome back. It's me, Jenny. How's everyone doing today? My loves, today I want to show you guys a really quick video. I want to sit down and show you guys how I color code using labels in my journal, because I got myself into a new journal. We put this one on the side. This is for the first half of the year. I'm done with this one, and then we started with this new journal, and we created this beautiful cover together. I didn't have my coding system in here, and so I went ahead and I did it because I wanted to write a quote down, and I didn't have my system in place. So I went in and I did my little system here in place, and I want to show you guys a little bit of how I do this. Maybe this can give you some ideas, some inspiration, some easy way of you maybe perhaps finding stuff in your journal, because this is something that is really helpful, especially if you journal a lot and you want to find specific things in your journal but you can't remember what you wrote. Perfect system for that. Okay, so before I start explaining to you the system, I usually use these journals for many things, right? I had a journal for self-care, I had a journal for my ancestral reading, I had a journal for poems. And while I love using these journals, I came across the same brand, but the journal that has 411 pages, and I was super excited. I was so excited. So I went and I purchased two of them with the intentions that I'm going to use them half a year. One for one half of the year and the other one for the remaining of the year. So it worked out perfect for me. This is the one for 6 months of the beginning of this year. Everything turned out amazing. I was able to use this and really work a lot in here. And I even still have a little bit of more pages left to go. I retired this one and I got myself into a new one, but the idea behind it really worked for me because I combined a lot of my journals into one. So I highly recommend that if you have different journals and it's kind of giving you some irritation or some annoyance, try to find this system and see if this system kind of works for you, because it has done miracles for me. Okay, so what I do is, because I do write a lot in here, I created a system for myself to identify specific things in my journal that perhaps maybe I want to go to it later, or maybe sometime in the future. So these color coordinations are actually they actually are specific for specific things in my journal. So what do I mean by that? So what I do is I use these little color coding labels to identify. For example, the red one identifies for me in my journal what would be a poem, a quote, or a song. Okay, the green one represents for me what will be a spiritual insight, something that spiritually came into my mind, or I heard about it, or I read about it and I want to write it down. I would use this little color coordinating label, green, in the corner of my page to identify that specific entry is about spiritual awareness or spiritual insight. I do the same thing for movies, but I use brown. For my ancestral reading, I'm using this beautiful purple. I had a separate journal for that, but now I'm including it in here. I also had a separate journal for my self-care routine, which I would do on Sundays. I'm now including it all in one journal, and I'm using pink for that. So every Sunday when I do a self-care routine, I would identify it in a pink little corner to let me know that that is a self-care routine. Maybe in a day, in a month, or in 6 weeks, or in 6 years from now, I can remember that the color pink identifies a self-care routine. Okay, and so this is a very simple system, but it really helps a lot, and it really gives you some guidance when you're looking through your journal and you're looking for specific stuff. Of course, you can obviously shape this to your liking, right? Maybe you don't write poems or quotes, but maybe you do something else. Just adjust it to your liking, but it does really help. Last night I wrote a poem here, actually a quote that I had really on my mind for a while now, and I wanted to write it down in here, and so I did that. I wrote down the quote, and I wrote down what I do is I write down the quote's name, today's date, and I write down who was the quote from, like either what writer or where did I get the source from. And I left this blank here because I want to write my insight, my emotions or my thoughts behind this particular quote that I have here. And as you can see here in the little corner, I put a little red dot because the red dot, again, represents for me poems, quotes, and song. Okay. Now on this side, I just did this actually a few hours ago. I came across Instagram and I came across this really beautiful message about a yellow butterfly, and it really caught my attention. And so I wrote down the message and I used green for spiritual insight. Okay. That is how I've been doing this system, and it has been working amazing for me. And I thought sharing this with you, maybe that can help you as well. Now the labels that I'm using, or the little coding color labels, look like this. I got these on Amazon. You can't get these in like Walmart or Target, but they do have like generic colors, which is not bad to start with, right? You have like the greens, you know, the reds, the blues, the general colors. But I wanted to get more colors because, you know me, I love, you know, I wanted to have choices in different colors. And so I went into Amazon and I was able to locate these. And these have like a whole bunch of different colors, different blues, different oranges, different pinks, you know, grays, and just a whole bunch of different beautiful colors. They come in a sheet of paper, like a paper size sheet. And what I did was I just cut it out so I'm able to fit it in here. And I just thought that, you know, that really just helped a lot with me trying to find something in my journal if I need to. I like to write a lot. I like to like document like songs in here, and sometimes I want to remember a song that I documented or that I wrote down in here, and that also helps me identify it. So I just thought it was, you know, something that I wanted to share with you guys. And I also have something to tell you, that in the event that you are not able to locate these little, by the way, I'll try to do my best to link at the bottom where you can find these little labels. But you can do your homework. You can really, you know, search it on Amazon and you do your homework and you'll find it. But I wanted to also explain to you guys that you don't need these labels to create the system. You can use markers. These are like these little markers that have those little circle tip. And I got these at Michael's, and you can literally just do a little graph for yourself, identifying what the dots would be. And you can use these. Okay, you can use these, or you can use regular markers as well. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be the round tip. I have these with me. So, but you know, do like a little chart for yourself, right? Write down what it is that you want to identify each color with, and then make yourself a little chart, and then you can use this as your identifying pages. Yeah. I thought it would be, you know, something that is helpful for someone that might need that kind of idea. And yeah, and so that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. Here, I want to share with you guys this beautiful quote that I got. I believe I got this in Instagram. And it's such a beautiful quote. And this quote actually has been following me around for many years. And I'm probably going to also rewrite it on my new journal because I love this quote. And the quote says, one universe, one planet, 204 countries, 809 islands, 7 seas, and I had the privilege to meet you. I thought it was a beautiful quote and very touching. And so I love it. And so I kept it here. And as you can see here, I have a little nice little dot that identify that is a quote. I do the same thing with songs. I don't think I have any songs in. I do have songs in here, but I have to look for it. But I do the same thing with songs, and I do the same thing with poems. And yeah, and that's just an easy way to give yourself some easy way to find things, yeah, in your journal. You don't go crazy, because I used to go crazy trying to find something in here, but identifying it that way makes it much more easy for you to just, you know, go through your journals and find what you're looking for. Okay, my loves? Okay, perfect. I hope this helped. I hope this gave you some ideas. I hope that this will give you some better way of using your journals. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.